because when you find your passion in your workplace, I mean, your life just rocks. It's so much fun to go to work every single day to help people, to work with people that you absolutely love, and that is truly a blessing. So when you get to kind of meet people through your philanthropy or through your work and bring them in, so that through both those faucets, that's really, really rewarding. And Philip and Amy have been part of my dad's group, but I actually have my own group. So if anyone works downtown, you know, the underground is called The Path. Well, we call our group The Path, and it's more, you know, God's path. So we do meet in The Path at Starbucks every Thursday at 7 a.m., and we read the Proverbs. The Proverbs are a book that is so close to my heart because, you know, it's written by Solomon. He was the wealthiest man at the time in the world. And, you know, he wasn't a saint. He turned into a pretty, you know, bad boy, and he had his transgressions and his issues and everything. But at the end of the day, he was able to, you know, even though he had his vices, he was able to pull it back and still be focused on wisdom and knowledge and setting a good example, being a steward of God's wealth. And it confronts a lot of the issues that I face and that I'm sure we face every day. I mean, jealousy, temptation, foolishness, you know, seduction, whatever it is, it tells you how to get around those things. So there's 31 books, 31 chapters in the Proverbs, and there's about 30 days in the month. So today's September the 15th, you're reading Proverbs the 15th, Proverbs 15. So what I would encourage you guys to do is start reading the Proverbs. Read it with a coworker, with a friend, meet up once a week if you can, or read it maybe every morning, that's what I do. And find verses in the Proverbs that relate to your career. There's some, whether it be, you know, that colleague that you just cannot stand, or, you know, that project or that boss who's being really hard on you, there are tons of examples in the Proverbs that will show you how to get through that issue that you're having at work. And it's, you know, it's so powerful. It's an amazing book. And, you know, it calls us to be stewards of God's wealth. And for me, I mean, being successful is great, but it's almost like a hollow feeling in your heart. If you don't have some way of giving back and some way of helping people, I don't know if you can ever really truly be successful. Because, you know, you have to have, your heart has to have that feeling as well, not just, you know, your mind or your status in society. So I feel like the more that we're focused on work and the more that we kind of gain in the workplace, the more that we're required to give back. And the more that we should give back because we're more capable to do that kind of stuff. And so, you know, it's hard at first. I would really encourage everyone to venture out of your comfort zone, and find your passion, and then once you can connect the two, it's really, really easy to get into it. It's just taking that first step out of your comfort zone. So I'd say, you know, what I would encourage you to do is study the Proverbs. God calls us to be the light in the darkness. As Christians, we're going to be judged to a different standard. I mean, if you do something that's not Christian, people will judge you and say, you're not a Christian, this is bad. We need to, you know what we need to do? We need to set an example and be good role models. If that means working harder than everyone else at work, then that's what we have to do. And you need to be that light, and it needs to shine through all the other darkness at work, all the greed and all the corruption and whatnot. Because when you can be a good example, and you can be that light, that will transform other people because they look up to you and want to be like that. And I think, you know, learn from the most successful man of all time, who was Solomon. He has some great, you know, stories and leadership that he can give to us. And push yourself out there. The rewards are huge. So if you have a passion, you know what it is, but you just don't know how to get involved, then come talk to me afterwards, because I know most of the CEOs and the presidents of all the Christian charities through this group, Stronger Together, and I can connect you with them and make sure that if you're looking for a place on a board, or you're looking for volunteering opportunities, or you're looking to minister or whatnot, I want to make sure that you have that introduction, that you can get involved. So I'm happy to make any introductions for you guys if that's what you're looking for. And so I want to kind of leave you with two Bible verses. So the first one is Matthew 25:34, and that's our prison fellowship verse. That's what we kind of go on. And it was actually really fitting to the song God of Justice, because, you know, it said we must go. It's so calling, we must go. So it was, then the king will say to those on his right, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you invited me in. I needed clothes, you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. So even in those tough times, we have to go visit those people, and our calling is to help people. And one of my favorite proverbs, which I think is great in the workplace, is Proverbs 8:10. He says, "Take my instruction and not silver, knowledge rather than the choicest gold. For wisdom is better than jewels, and all desirable things cannot compare with her." So I would say, if I can leave you with anything, find your passion, make sure you know what it is. God is calling you, and He knows what it is. He's just waiting for you to find it. So find what you love to do. Find an outlet for that passion, whether it's ministry, philanthropy, tithing, volunteering, and then find a career that allows you to be passionate. Push the envelope, work hard, and really shine through your career to be exactly what God has planned for you.
So the next period of time is we want to open the floor and have a chance to have a dialogue. That if there's any question that you have related to what Alexandra just shared with us, and please feel free to actually ask, and then we can actually have the dialogue. That's part of the traditional flow. Normally we have bigger space and we would have more opportunity to bring in the group and share and so on, and because we have a smaller group, smaller space today, so you just have to talk to everyone, okay? So I'll just start. I have a question. Like, you are so busy with all the work that you do, and the charity that you involve, and the board of this fellowship. How do you actually even get time to do it? How do you actually balance life? Do you actually have life? Do you actually have fun?
I have fun every day of my life because I love what I do. And, you know, I think the three main things that tell me to keep going at the rate I'm going at, because I just feel like I'm working all the time, is prayer, it's church, and it's also exercise. So, I mean, I have a lot of energy naturally, and I love what I do. If I didn't love what I do, if I didn't love helping people, I wouldn't be able to do it. But I think, you know, having that time to pray, it is energizing. Going to church gets your mind off everything, gets you focused back on the fundamentals. And exercise gives you a lot of energy too, because I get frustrated pretty easily at work sometimes. I don't know if you guys go through that. I don't have as much patience as I would like to, but that keeps me on track. And then take vacations, and when you're on vacation, actually rest, which is not always that easy for a lot of young people. So you like to be doing lots of time.
I have a question. So you said that you take care of the kids. Take care of the kids whose parents are in prison. So does children ever get to see them?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes they go for visitation into the prisons. It's not always that easy. There's a lot of kind of complicated. You need to book the time. You need to make sure that it gets reviewed. There's lots of security and different things there. They do get to, and that's why we do Angel Tree as well, because it's an opportunity for the prisoner to choose a special gift for their child and write a handwritten note saying, you know, Daddy loves you, I'm coming home soon, you know, Merry Christmas. And it's a way for them to still touch their child as well. And so we work with different churches and different people and volunteers to actually deliver those gifts to make sure that they're under the tree during Christmas time. But it's not easy.
So what are some of the biggest obstacles you face in ministering to prisoners?
The biggest obstacles? I think, honestly, it's hard to be a woman in that, in the arena, because a lot of these people, okay, if I go into a jail, the guys are intense, okay? So it's a little bit awkward, but I think something else I really struggle with is that the prisoners really are not educated. So it's hard to have that empathy. It's hard to have a conversation necessarily about something that's more high level. So how I get around that is, you know, if you want to minister to somebody, you have to kind of become their friend first. They have to like you. They have to trust you. So I try to, you know, become a friend and really get to know them. And you know, another really hard part is judgment. Because I think we all probably experience it every day. But can you imagine if you're a prisoner? You've been shunned by society. Pretty much nobody wants anything to do with you. And so automatically they feel like they're being judged by anyone who's on the outside. So breaking down that barrier between the prisoner and between, you know, yourself is not always easy. But I think it comes easier to some people than to other people. We do women's ministry as well. Actually, we have a certain group of volunteers who work exclusively in the women's prisons, and there's actually been a lot lower recidivism rate for women. So they've been even more receptive to our program. But as I'm sure you can imagine, there's a lot less women in jail than there are men. But yeah, we do a lot of women's ministries.
You're saying that you had a lot of connections with various organizations with ministry work. How did you come about having that sense of being called to do prison ministry assessment?
Prison, it came through my school. I mean, I don't know, I went into school not really knowing what my passion was, not really knowing what I wanted to do. I know that I wanted to be in business, but I ended up majoring in law. And I hated it. I just thought, this is atrocious. How